Welcome to Drizzle, and Drizzle talking about wrestling, because this is the Drizzle Wrestling Show. Haven't done an episode for eons, so I figured, well, we should catch up here and tell people what's going on. Um, so we have a lot of ROH talent that has recently signed with NXT. You have people like Bobby Fish, and then you also have Kyle O'Reilly, who just recently signed. And then you also have people like Adam Cole, who are probably going to be signed soon. And then you also have people that are also coming in from other companies like New Japan and a few other companies as well. And obviously with Drew Galloway being there, and Bobby Roode and Eric Young and Roderick Strong, the future's pretty good for NXT right now. And a lot of MMA fighters have switched as well. We have a high volume of former UFC fighters who have switched over. Ronda Rousey, what do you guys think about that? Ronda Rousey is going to be trained to be a professional wrestler very, very soon. I think that's great for her career. She was an amazing fighter for UFC. I think that she's going to have a hell of a career as a wrestler, honestly. She's very, very talented, very athletic, tough as nails. She can beat up any girl in the world, pretty much. So I'm looking very, very, very happy to see her doing this. And we finally might get the match that we all want to see, honestly, which is her beating up Stephanie McMahon. I want to see it. That's going to be funny if it happens. Raw was very solid this week. I was pretty impressed with the matches. I thought the last man standing match between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns is freaking incredible. We get a little bit more insight on what's going to happen at SummerSlam. Some of the matches are finally developing. It looks like it's going to be a pretty solid show. Unfortunately, no Bayley because she's injured. We're not going to get her wrestling at SummerSlam, which is a huge shame. I like Bayley. I think she's one of the reasons why the women's division has been so good over the last few years. There are a lot of rumors going around that Becky Lynch is going to be fighting a former UFC women's fighter. I can't remember her name. I think her name is Shay something. But I feel like we're finally getting what SummerSlam should be about, and that's what the fans want to see, is the UFC fighters coming in and, fighting the women wrestlers. I think it's going to be interesting that we're going to get some of this. So it looks like if Sasha Banks wins next week, she's going to be facing Alexa Bliss. I say you go for that. That could be an interesting match. Either way, Nia Jax, even if she wins, that could be a pretty interesting match as well for Alexa Bliss. Not too keen on Alexa Bliss. I don't think that she's much to brag about. She's good and she's talented, but I don't think she should even have the championship belt. I think they should give that to Sasha Banks, if you want my honest opinion, and just wait till Bayley comes back from her injury. That would be a great rivalry for Raw. The Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt rivalry is getting pretty heated. I think that the show is developing very well with that. I want to see it. I want to see Bray Wyatt and Finn Balor go at it in a match. I feel like maybe that could kind of help Raw's ratings out a little bit. Kurt Angle is great as general manager. I love it. I'm glad that he's back. Not too keen on him wrestling right now, though, because of his histories. Hopefully, if he is going to wrestle at WrestleMania this year, he's going to be cleared for that. I don't really want to see Kurt wrestling hurt, because he's not really at his best when he's hurt. Is anybody sick of The Miz? This guy is. Has The Miz even wrestled a match in weeks? Not really, no. He just blah, 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 blah. I'm the greatest wrestler in the world. I'm The Miz. Yeah, well, you didn't really get that this week because Brock Lesnar F5'd all his asses and beat all of his Mizdorized people up. And that was so funny. I was laughing so hard. Oh my god, it was funny. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, I think what's going to happen is that they're going to come together as a tag team and they're going to eventually face off Cesaro and Sheamus in some type of a tag team match. I think that would be kick-ass. Let's do it. I want to see it. That would be really one hell of a match. What's up with the Hardys? Why weren't they not on Raw? I don't get that. That's a little strange. And then Scott Dawson is hurt for the Revival, so we're not going to get the Revival, unfortunately, at SummerSlam. They are out of the picture until he heals from his injury. We don't even really know what type of injury it is. They haven't said anything about it. So I thought Raw, out of 1 to 10, I would give it, well, probably 8.5. I think it was pretty decent this week. So we're building to SummerSlam, and the Enzo Amore thing with Big Show, I don't know. I've never really been an Enzo fan. I think he's like average, honestly, as a wrestler. He's funny on the mic and stuff, but he's not really a wrestler. He can't really do much in the ring. I just want that whole thing to just revolve more around Big Cass and Big Show and having a match. I don't want Enzo involved in it at all, honestly, if they're smart. Like ban him from ringside or something at SummerSlam, do something, because I'm just not feeling it. It's just not my thing right now. They're talking about moving him to NXT. I say fine, go with that, because he might actually have good matches in NXT to help the younger talent. So yeah, go ahead and do that. I thought 205 Live this week was pretty good. I'm glad that they're finally focusing on some of the younger talent, and they got some of the older people out of 205 Live, so you don't have Austin Aries obviously left the company, so, and I haven't really seen Brian Kendrick at all, so I think that he's gone too, so they might just focus on Neville and the younger talent, and I think that that's good. That's what they should do. 205 Live always impressed me. I thought it was a good show. And let's think here. SmackDown, I thought was a pretty solid show too. I mean, the whole Shane McMahon special guest referee for the United States Championship match, SummerSlam, I think it's a great idea. Solid idea. I think that it could possibly be one of the best matches for SmackDown for that pay-per-view. I say go for it. Could be kind of cool. Let's think here. Yeah, I think the Women's Championship match should be pretty good. Obviously, Becky Lynch is going to fight a UFC fighter. That could kind of be interesting. The Usos versus the New Day, I think, could be one of the best tag team matches, honestly, in SummerSlam history. Because they just don't like each other, and they're going to do anything to win. So, and then we got the weird segment again with Breezango, which, I don't know. I'm not really too into that. I think it's kind of boring now. I think they just need to let it go. The Jinder Mahal Randy Orton rivalry, I feel like, has been one of the solid rivalries on SmackDown. They're really building Jinder Mahal to face Nakamura, and I feel like Nakamura, if they're smart, they should put the championship on him. I feel like that would definitely benefit WWE in the future because he's such a great talent. The crowd loves him. And then you could build towards the AJ Styles versus Nakamura at WrestleMania in New Orleans, and I say go for it. I want to see that match. I've seen them fight each other in New Japan, and that was an amazing match. I think it was Wrestle Kingdom 9 or something like that when I saw it. Um, so, yeah, I feel like SmackDown is getting much better, and obviously you have the Rusev rivalry with Randy Orton that's building. I think that could be a good match as well for SummerSlam. Um, and Ellsworth is back with Carmella. I think that could kind of potentially evolve her beating Naomi eventually at some point in time, because she can just cash it in basically at SummerSlam after her match and win the title. And I say if that could be interesting for SmackDown, I say do it. My only concern is you're not really doing anything with Charlotte. And Charlotte was the women's champion for, oh my god, like almost half a year, longer than that possibly. So why is she not even booked on SummerSlam? Why? I think she should fight Lana at SummerSlam. That's my opinion, or Tamina. I mean, something has to be done there because you can't just leave Charlotte out of the pay-per-view. John Cena versus Baron Corbin, WrestleMania or SummerSlam. I feel like that potentially could be a pretty good, decent match as well. And what do you think about Daniel Bryan coming back a little bit more now? He's been on TV the last few weeks. I think that's good for ratings. I'm very impressed with WWE right now. Right, they're trying to help build their brands. They're trying to get more involved with the fans and hear us, and I feel like that's what needs to happen. The GFW shows have been pretty good. I've watched a few of them. El Patron is coming back from his suspension finally. We're getting a lot of younger talent from other companies coming in. We're getting a brand new tag team that is going to be making their debut. They're an indie tag team. I know nothing about the tag team. I just say that people say they're pretty decent. They're young. They're entertaining. Davey Richards officially announced that he is done with wrestling. Basically, he's going to medical school. He wants to be a doctor. So he's going to not concentrate on wrestling anymore. He's pretty much done. Lashley might be going back to MMA. So we're not going to see too much more of Lashley. So GFW is going to have to pick up the pace here and start signing some of these other people from other companies that are free agents. Here's what I think GFW should do. Let's say since you have these promotions that you're dealing with right now and you're negotiating contracts for you swipe talent, I think eventually they should sign some of these other talents that are from like AA Mexico, AAA Mexico. I think that they should sign some of these people from Noah, and Ho Ho Lu, who was just released by NXT. I feel like that would be a great opportunity for him to come there and be a part of the X Division. I say go for it. I think they could even sign Rey Mysterio. That could be a big help for them. Johnny Mundo would be a great fit for them too. I'm trying to think here. I think a lot of former WWE talent would be great for them. I mean, Jack Swagger would be interesting. PJ Black, I think, would be great. Yeah, I mean, they could do so much down there if they just have the patience and try to negotiate some contracts here. Bring back Sonata. I think Sonata would be good for them. I think they should focus actually on the X Division myself. I think they have a fair amount of talent sitting there for the X Division, and I say just use it to your advantage. Now, the whole Grado thing with Laurel Van Ness, I think they should just scrap that whole thing. I don't think it's that entertaining. I like Grado. I think he should be in the X division, if you want my honest opinion. I don't think he should be going through this whole storyline thing with her. I think that they should reinvent her whole character and try to involve her maybe in like a knockouts rivalry with somebody. Brandy Rhodes is officially done with GFW. She pretty much got her the okay to leave. She's going to start doing work with ROH and a few underground companies in the indie scenes. So you're not going to have that anymore. Rachel Evering as well. She's not there anymore either. She's also involved with the Mae Young Classic, and she might be eventually signed to NXT. So, and then you're getting some other younger NXT women that are being signed from other companies as well. So the wrestling industry is getting very interesting, and then you have the Daniels versus Cody rivalry for ROH. I feel like that's great that we're finally going to get that. So wrestling is becoming pretty damn good, honestly. I'm pretty impressed with what they're doing. All the companies are really trying their best to make a quality product. Thank you. Finally.